Thank you, Petra. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, partners, designers, friends, good morning. My name is Dina Kattan. I'm from Jordan, and I'm here representing UNIDO, and I'm currently working as a national project coordinator for the Creative Industries projects in Jordan. First of all, I would like to say that I am honored and very grateful to be a part of Ljubljana Creative Forum for the second time around, and I must say it has been such an inspiring experience in showing people from different countries and backgrounds that creativity can be accessible to everyone. Before I begin with the feedback of yesterday's study tour of the creative entrepreneurs, I would like to share a little bit of what we have done at UNIDO within the creative industries. 2 months ago, we have proudly launched an initiative called Irth, which means heritage in Arabic. It is a contemporary handicrafts collection and a collective effort done by 5 women-based associations in the north of Jordan. The collection is a variety of authentic and creative products and handicrafts, which we have been working on throughout the past 2 years, together with women from the north of Jordan with the financial support of the Austrian government. The idea of the project stems from the importance of rural development and strengthening the resilience of people, especially in crisis situations. It is also driven by the exceptional global preference of end customers for what is perceived as authentic and genuine as a reaction to the rapid changes brought about by globalization. Nowadays, customers are willing to pay a premium for products that are true to their roots and tell a story. With the women in the North, we have attempted to turn challenges into entrepreneurial opportunities. We have developed their skills and provided on-the-job training using modern tools. We have worked together on enhancing the quality and design of their products and have developed the packaging as a main tool for product protection and marketing. In addition, we have also worked on developing the branding that is a vital marketing tool, as it has a critical impact on distinguishing the product in terms of quality and experience, and on creating trust needed at the customer's end. As a last step in our journey with these cooperatives, we have supported them in displaying their products in Amman Design Week, which is a major platform that supports the local and regional talents. This initiative has given them the opportunity to promote and sell their products, and most importantly, to create linkages with potential clients. The 4 brands created under Irth were nearly sold out in the 9 days of Amman Design Week. As we say, no society can flourish without culture, and creative industries can be one vehicle to promote both cultural and economic development. We hope that our efforts can build on the strength and strengthened by others who seek to enhance the resilience of host communities in Jordan, to enhance rural development and entrepreneurship. Which brings us back to what we have seen in yesterday's very interesting study tour. The feedback that I got from most of the countries that provided me with the conclusions and the recommendations is on 3 levels. The first level would be on an infrastructure supporting creative industry. The first point would be the importance of the hubs to provide spaces to experiment and develop with tools such as 3D printers, CNC machines, etc., crucial for creative people to discover their way of designing, producing, thinking. Hubs to provide co-working spaces to experiment, to network, and to learn. Access to facilities and credit made easier for creative entrepreneurs. On the level of capacity building, there's a huge need for training creative professionals and the students about business to create a sustainable, agile economy. If the system continues only providing support, not educating them about how they can run their business, how they can collaborate with their industries, then the economy will not create their own revenue and will not continue being dependent on support. Mentorship programs for creative entrepreneurs. At the level of policymaking, conduct mapping exercises throughout the region to understand better the clusters of creative components and realities in order to better target policies that aim at their development, such as better education with the introduction of design thinking methodologies and entrepreneurship. And finally, reduction of VAT and other types of incentives for creative entrepreneurs. Clear plans from governments to address the creative industries sector. Thank you.
Well, Dina made kind of introduction to the next speaker already, stressing the importance of creative hubs. And while we were walking around rainy Ljubljana yesterday, the creative hubs met here, a group of 20 hubs, pretty much one from each country, to discuss their challenges, what works, what doesn't, and the way forward. So we have the pleasure to welcome Relja Bobić, who will present the conclusions of yesterday's workshops. Thank you, Relja.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today and, of course, to be back at Polygon. My name is Relja Bobić. I'm coming from Belgrade, Serbia, where I'm the co-founder of the creative hub called Nova Iskra, where I'm also working on international cooperation projects and program development. And I'm also involved as a project coordinator with the European Creative Hubs Network, that you will hear more about later during the day from my colleague Vasilis. So first of all, it was really amazing. I was, over the last couple of years, part of many networking events, conferences dedicated to hubs, and of course organized by our network, which is the first network dedicated solely to creative hubs on the European level. And hopefully after this meeting it will also expand its geographical scope. So it was really amazing to finally also meet our peers, our colleagues coming from a bit different cultural backgrounds, but also, of course, to learn that some of the challenges that we are all sharing are still common. So we had 3 workshop sessions yesterday. There was around 20 of us. And we focused on, first of all, on the position of the creative workers as individuals and the challenges they are facing, then on the programs developed by creative hubs, and finally we talked about access to funding and financing. And I must say my impression was that in more or less in all of the 3 sessions the conversation would always kind of go back to issues of sustainability and business models and how all of these organizations are able or should be able to survive and to become sustainable and to serve their communities. So together with Eva Matias from Polygon, we were considering the challenges for the creative workers. Of course, mostly the precarious position in which they usually are, and this includes most of our communities, our members, the people who are users of our hubs, but also, I would say, ourselves or all of the hub managers and the people who are in the management teams of all of these creative hubs. And on the other hand, the programs we are all developing are indeed serving these communities, and we were able to hear about different approaches, and I must say I was really positively surprised to hear about the, let's say, the level of development of some of the hubs coming from the Mediterranean area or the North African region. And we definitely recognized huge common ground, and that we can feed off each other in a great deal in terms of exchange of experience and exchange of know-how. Of course, with different specific challenges that we are all facing. One of the main conclusions, I think, was that definitely we need to continue meeting and talking, that this occasion of all of us meeting here should be just a starting point, and that we actually need to really spend time together in a physical space, not in a virtual space, to be able to develop sustainable collaborations and sustainable projects for the future. So one of the proposals we would like to point out is that it would be very good for us to create a sort of a framework that would be aimed at development of projects even before we are applying for any sort of funding, because developing this project, this kind of projects and applications through online communication is something that is possible, but it would definitely take much more time, and so kind of we would like to see a framework in which we could meet maybe on a regular basis, and that hopefully this will turn out to be just the first of many of our meetings. Something else that we discussed was the opportunity for the hubs coming from the Mediterranean region to actually align with the European Creative Hubs network, because this is something I think that they also recognized as a value and as a really strong potential. So we will be looking into the possibility in the next weeks and months to actually have a sort of a special chapter within the European Creative Hubs network, where all of the hubs who were present here yesterday, and of course many other of their peers, could also join us, take part in different peer-to-peer activities. We are realizing our annual General Assembly and many other activities that are happening through the projects that the network is doing. What we also recognize is that certain capacity building programs are definitely needed, whether it would be through the European Creative Hubs network or through the next iterations of Creative Forum, but we definitely need to exchange on a peer-to-peer level and to kind of really talk about specific topics that are relevant to our everyday work. So we definitely recognize that whenever we are talking about very tangible issues, about managing a creative hub or managing your community or working on accessing funding, this is when most of us around the table, were most engaged, because these are the relevant issues. And finally, in terms of access to funding, we were talking about the specific, let's say, hybrid form that creative hubs are having. And it was also great to see the big diversity of creative hubs in the room yesterday, because each creative hub kind of has its own way and serves a specific community in a specific way. So it is really amazing to see all this diversity in one place. But we're also kind of recognizing that from the standpoint of funding programs and from the, let's say, policy position, it's sometimes hard to fit the existing let's say, frameworks of what kind of organizations are recognized. So many of these hubs, they are working with several legal entities of different form and so on. So we are recognizing a need that also maybe on the side of the policymakers and funders, there should be an increased awareness and knowledge about all of the specific things that relate to the operations of creative hubs. So I think that would be kind of the main points we would like to pass on. We are also keeping some minor news for the good news session later in the day. And I invite you to definitely follow the presentation of European Creative Hubs Network, where if you are not completely familiar with the concept of Creative Hubs, you will have a chance to hear about it. So thank you very much.
What Relja mentioned is that the value added of all the groups yesterday was really that the creatives met in a kind of atypical composition. All Western Balkan countries and all countries from the MENA region. So it was kind of the first time that some of them really met in this kind of constellation. And it was also the point of the Creative Europe workshop, where the Creative Europe desks from Tunisia, Kosovo, and Slovenia met to discuss how to open up for a kind of atypical cultural cooperations. Because we know that somehow the cultural operators always work with kind of traditional partners, and we would really like to open up our cultural spaces. So at this point, I have the pleasure to welcome Hazar from Tunisia to share her impressions with us. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Slovenia and the Union for the Mediterranean, for the organization of this great event and for inviting the Creative Europe Desk Tunisia, a country that joined the Creative Europe program June 2017. I would like also to thank the Motovilla host of the Creative Europe Desk Slovenia and the Motovilla girls for their help and support these 2 days. Yesterday we have had a workshop, a Creative Europe workshop, where 3 desks, Creative Europe desks were present, Tunisia, Slovenia and Kosovo, and also a selection of actors, creative actors from Slovenia. During this workshop, we had the chance to present the Tunisian creative sector and also to learn or to be introduced to the creative actors and sector in both Slovenia and Kosovo. We had a fruitful debate after these presentations, and I think we came out with 3 conclusions. First, there is many similarities between these 3 countries and the creative sector in these 3 countries. And to quote one of the participants, it is very important to have more solidarity between these 3 creative sectors and to bring the big to the small around cooperation projects. Second, it's very important to give more visibility of this very creative actors in each country, so other actors will be aware of their presence and will potentially come together and encourage cooperation between similar or complementary entities in all these countries. Third, we stressed the importance of having platforms for creative actors to meet in person. And I would like to thank you for the organization of these creative forums, because it was really an opportunity to meet creative actors and for them to meet creative actors or a representative of the creative sectors in each country, which will build trust and enhance cooperation, future cooperation projects. At last, cooperation is the main idea we came out with after this workshop, and especially for the Western Balkan and South Mediterranean countries that have a lot of similarities. And I do believe that the Creative Europe program is one of the best catalysts for to emphasize or to enhance this cooperation between all the Creative Europe countries. Thank you.